Americans, have I got a pipeline for you. It's the Keystone XL oil pipeline, starting in Alberta, Canada, and ending over 1,000 miles later down in the U.S. state of Nebraska. I think it's fair to say that the XL stands for extra large, and that's just how we Americans like everything, am I right? The purpose of this pipeline is to transport crude oil from Canadian oil sand pits down to American refineries, where we can turn that crude oil into sweet, sweet energy for our cars and malls and iPads. And since no one has figured out a viable alternative source for our gluttonous energy habit yet, wouldn't it just be better to get our oil from a friendly Canadian neighbor? What's that you say? Oh, right, the environment. It's bad for the environment, particularly because it's transporting oil that is coming from goopy sand pits. Right. Yeah, see, taking crude oil from sand pits, like the one in Canada, is a process that involves a ton more carbon emissions than, say, drilling for crude. But don't worry, the U.S. State Department recently issued a supplementary environmental impact statement as part of the approval process for the pipeline. In its conclusion, it says, "You guys, relax. The pipeline won't have any bad impact on the environment." Now, the report admits that oil sands crude oil has potentially large climate impacts. The report admits that the emissions could be 81% greater than emissions from average crude already being refined in the U.S. But then the report actually says that, and I'm paraphrasing here obviously, but this is honestly what the report reported as findings. It says that, people are going to want that sweet Canadian energy. So people will find some way to transport that oil one way or another, pipeline or no pipeline. That is their logic. Market analysis, they call it. That's what is central to our Department of State's assessment that this pipeline will have no significant impact on our environment. Because even if we don't build this pipeline, the market demand is strong enough to just assume that someone else will build some other way to get all that oil out of that big old sand pit. So the environmental impact is somehow therefore nullified. Now we are in the meaningful comments phase of the pipeline project. That's how this works. People apply for permits, federal agencies issue their dumb reports and findings, and then we have this comment phase where we all are allowed to give our 2 cents, and supposedly the government listens. Well, here's my 2 cents, U.S. government. I know you're probably going to build your damn pipeline no matter what I say. The only thing that might stop you is if you figure out a way to get more oil more cheaply. I'd respect you a lot more, U.S. government, if you just came out and said, we're building an extra large pipeline that is going to jut across open plains of 3 giant states like a nasty, cancer-causing worm on the planet. And you are going to like it, because then you can still use all of your TVs and microwaves and SUVs. But since you are not going to say that, I'd appreciate it if you'd at least stop pretending to do due diligence and writing up these crap reports that insult my intelligence. That's my comment. Tonight, let's talk about that by following me on Twitter @TheResident.